You know the feeling, right? That amazing customer service experience that just makes your day. And then there's the other one, the one that makes you want to scream. That frustrating phone call, the order that's completely wrong, the employee who just doesn't seem to care. It can feel like you're just rolling the dice every time. But what if it's not random? What if there's a system, a predictable reason why service fails so often? Well, there is. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how it all works.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. So many of these service failures, they're not really about a lack of effort or even skill. They are, at their core, communication failures. It all boils down to this mismatch between what we, the customers, expect and what the company thinks we expect.
You can actually think about it with a really simple equation. Your satisfaction is basically your perception of the service you got minus what you expected to get. If what you received meets or, even better, exceeds what you were hoping for, hey, you're a happy camper. But if it falls short, you're not. And the bigger that gap between expectation and reality, the more frustrated you get. So, how do we figure out where that gap is coming from? Well, that's where this brilliant tool called the gap model of service quality comes into play. I want you to think of it like an X-ray for a business. It lets you see all the hidden fractures in how they deliver service, the little things that lead to that big feeling of disappointment. Now, what's so cool about this model is how it splits the world in two. See, up at the top, you've got the customer's world. That's all about their needs, their past experiences, what they're expecting. But down below, you have the company's world, all the internal gears and processes where things can quietly, secretly go wrong. The model points out 5 specific gaps where a breakdown can happen, and trust me, any one of them can totally sour the final experience. So this first gap, the knowledge gap, is the most fundamental one. It's when a company is just completely out of touch with what its customers actually want. You know, a hotel manager might spend a fortune on a fancy hot breakfast buffet, thinking that's the key to happiness. But what if their guests are mostly business travelers who couldn't care less about pancakes and just want a super clean room and lightning-fast Wi-Fi? By not actually listening, the company is already building its whole service on a faulty foundation. Okay, so let's say a company manages to avoid gap 1. They can still stumble right into gap 2. This is where management knows what customers want. Let's say they want their phone calls answered promptly, but they fail to create clear, specific rules to make it happen. Telling your staff to answer phones quickly is honestly pretty useless. What does quickly even mean? 2 rings, 10 seconds? Without a concrete standard like all calls must be answered by the second ring, the policy is just wishful thinking. It's not a real plan. And of course, even if you have the perfect policy written down, it can all fall apart in the execution. And that's the delivery gap. So the front desk staff knows the rule is answer by the second ring, but it just doesn't happen. Why? Well, maybe they're poorly trained, maybe the place is chronically understaffed, or maybe they just aren't motivated. The standard is there on paper, but it's not actually happening in reality. And now we get to a huge one, a real trust breaker. This gap opens up when what a company promises in its ads just doesn't match up with reality. Imagine your favorite local coffee shop starts this huge campaign for its amazing gluten-free pastries. So you go in, you buy one because of that promise, and then you find out later it's not actually gluten-free. The company just overpromised and underdelivered, and in doing so, they've basically shattered their own credibility. And all those other potential screw-ups, they all lead us right here, to the final and really the most important gap. This is the one that we, the customer, actually feel. The customer gap is the grand total of all the other potential problems. It's that ultimate feeling of disappointment when our expectations, which are shaped by our own needs, what we've heard from others, and the company's ads, just crash head-on with what we feel like we actually got. Okay, so we've diagnosed the illness with these 5 gaps. We know what the problem is, so now what? What's the cure? Well, luckily, the very same researchers who created the gap model also developed a treatment plan. It's a framework called ServQual, and it zeroes in on the 5 key things customers use, often without even realizing it, to judge the quality of a service. And these 5 dimensions create this really handy acronym, RATER. Now, this isn't just some random checklist. A ton of research has shown that when a company really nails these 5 areas over and over again, it builds this incredible reputation for excellence. That's how you earn real long-term customer loyalty. So what do these actually mean in plain English? Well, reliability is the absolute foundation. Just do what you said you were going to do and do it right the first time. Assurance is all about building trust. Does your staff seem like they know what they're doing? Are they confident? Tangibles are all the physical stuff you see. Is the website easy to use? Is the store clean? Do the employees look professional? Empathy is about making a real human connection. And responsiveness is that eagerness to help and to do it fast.
And this quote just brilliantly explains the whole idea of empathy. Just picture this. You're at a restaurant, you accidentally spill your water all over the table, a busser swoops in, cleans it up perfectly, replaces everything, but does it all with a totally blank face. No eye contact, no smile, not even a quick, "Is there anything else I can get you?" The task itself was done efficiently, sure, but you didn't feel cared for. And that is the huge difference between just completing a task and providing true service. So how does this all tie together? How do we use this cure, the Rader framework, to fix the illness of the 5 gaps? Well, the real magic happens when you realize that focusing on these 5 Rader dimensions is the most direct and effective way to close those 5 service gaps we talked about earlier. It's really the perfect 1-2 punch of diagnosis and prescription. The GAP model is the diagnostic tool. It helps a company look in the mirror and see what's broken in its own processes. The Rader framework is the prescription. It forces the company to look outward and focus on the 5 things that actually shape how customer perceives quality. It completely shifts the focus from our internal problems to what our customers are actually experiencing and what they really value.
Now look, this isn't just some boring theory for business school students. Understanding this stuff actually makes you a way smarter, more empowered consumer. You can suddenly put your finger on exactly why a bad service experience felt so frustrating. And hey, if you're a manager, a freelancer, or really anyone who provides any kind of service, this gives you an incredible roadmap to make sure you are never the one creating these gaps for your own clients.
So here's a challenge. The next time you have one of those really frustrating service moments, try to diagnose it. Was it a knowledge gap, where they just didn't get what you wanted? Was it a communication gap, where the ad promised the moon and the service didn't deliver? Or a delivery gap, where the employees just dropped the ball? Because I promise you, once you start seeing this framework out in the wild, you can't unsee it. Let us know in the comments which one of these service gaps you seem to run into the most. Thanks for watching.